Hi, I'm Brenna Unger, and I'm presenting on why I should want the personal responsibility and wellness PRW curriculum to change. Who would have thought I would be in college taking a class about how to walk, a natural everyday function? You may think it's a joke, most people do, but it is a required course at SMU. To most, it seems like a filler course that one must get out of the way in order to graduate, but it can be so much more than that. PRW has the potential to be life-saving and live up to the name of personal responsibility and wellness. This past summer, I was at the pool, hanging out with friends and enjoying the Texas sun. As we were sitting there, we started talking to the people around us and meeting more people at the apartment complex. While talking, we noticed one of the guys stopped swimming, and because of his personality, we thought he was pranking us. After a few minutes, I yelled at his friend to get him out of the pool. Joke or not. As he's pulling him out, things did not look good, because the guy who drowned is blue. I ran over and immediately started CPR on him. Everything that was drilled into my head during CPR training came back to me. I remember my old high school health teacher, Mr. Fott, yelling at me for joking around on CPR day and making me repeatedly perform CPR until I did it correctly. And thank God he did, because I was able to revive the guy who drowned and gave him a fighting chance in the hospital. The paramedics said if I was not there that day, he would have died. His grandma and family reached out to me, so thankful they did not lose a loved one. I couldn't even imagine losing a friend or family member to an instance of drowning. And the one thing that prevented a tragedy from ripping through his family and friends was CPR training. While you may never think you'd be in a situation like this, you could be. And wouldn't you rather be safe than sorry? CPR and AED research and development has taken place since the 1800s, meaning it has been thoroughly been tested and perfected to maximize its effectiveness. In 1960, an established form of CPR and AED resuscitation was officially approved to save lives, making the CPR technique I used at the pool 61 years old. In the 1990s, public access to defibrillator programs that provide training and resources started. This included the implementation of first aid kits and AEDs in public places, so anyone can help resuscitate victims of cardiac arrest. In 2013, the American Heart Association installed an interactive CPR kiosk in the DFW airport that features a video, touchscreen, and practice mannequin so passengers can learn hands-only CPR. You may have seen it while traveling. CPR, AED, and first aid certification has an established reputation of success, and SMU should make it readily available by incorporating it into the personal responsibility and wellness PRW curriculum. SMU requires PRW classes in order to graduate. These classes focus on general health, how to cope with transition to college, time management, and fitness. While these are useful topics, the time allotted for these PRW classes could be used more efficiently. Last year as a transfer sophomore, I was required to take PRW. All my transfer friends and I signed up for PRW and happened to be in a class full of seniors. We learned about the transition to college, and some of the information was not applicable to us, as the majority of us have already been to college for 2 to 4 years. This year I'm in a PRW walking class. And while there are beneficial aspects to walking, there are only so many things you can learn about walking. PRW can be more applicable to everyday life with the implementation of CPR AED training. CPR AED training. CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation, which are life-saving compressions to one's chest. AED stands for automated external defibrillator, which is a machine that sends electrical shocks through someone's heart. Both help combat cardiac arrest, which occurs frequently. Globally, cardiac arrest claims more lives than colon cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, influenza, auto accidents, HIV, firearms, and house fires combined, which is crazy when you think about it. CPR, especially administered immediately after cardiac arrest, can double or even triple a person's chance of survival, which leads to about 45% of out of hospital cardiac arrest victims surviving when administered by standard CPR. As we will be entering the professional world soon, workplaces alone contribute about 10,000 cardiac arrests a year. A common misconception is that people who need CPR are usually old and sickly, but college students are also susceptible. Cardiac arrest is not selective. It can affect anyone at any time, regardless of age, race, or gender. Usually, those who experience cardiac arrest have no history of medical problems. It could happen to anyone you know, and SMU should prepare us. While you may think this would never happen to you or a loved one, it really can. Or if you happen to go into cardiac arrest, I know you'd want someone qualified to perform CPR on site. Incorporating CPR into PRW curriculum ensures generations of SMU students will know CPR and have the capability to perform it in case they do experience someone in cardiac arrest. I never thought I'd save a guy from drowning. While many may write this off as a one-and-done freak experience, I also had use my CPR training on someone near and dear to my heart, my mom. While we were eating dinner, my mom started choking on her food, and I had to perform the Heimlich maneuver on her to clear her airway. The Heimlich maneuver is incorporated into CPR training and is where you go behind someone and push in and up on their stomach so they cough up whatever they're choking on. While movies tend to show this, there is a certain technique behind it that makes it effective, and you can learn that technique through training. This problem demands urgency because cardiac arrest can happen anywhere, and the SMU community can be ready for it. If we do not act now, a friend or someone's loved one could unnecessarily die because an SMU bystander did not know what to do. While some may believe PRW is perfect the way it is, there's always room for improvement, especially the life-saving kind. SMU needs to make CPR and AED and first aid training mandatory by incorporating it into the PRW curriculum. This can be completed through various steps. In order to solve the problem, the importance of CPR needs to be emphasized, the SMU community needs to petition for change, and the university needs to recognize the importance of CPR and fund its training. Students, faculty, staff, and administration need to come together to plant the foundations of a strong community that encourages CPR training. In terms of money, SMU will have to purchase reusable CPR dummies, AED training simulators, and basic first aid kit practice packages. They will also need to pay for the faculty and staff to be trained in CPR in order for them to train and certify the students. If SMU signs with an authorized provider like the Red Cross, steps 1 and 2 of the monetary need will be covered. SMU will need to use PRW funds or ask for donors in order to pay for the Red Cross certification program. In addition, SMU will also have to alter the PRW curriculum and include CPR certification. Many faculty and staff would support CPR certification as cardiac arrests are common in the workplace, also to assist their loved ones if needed. Surrounding communities would support it as it provides a deterrent to cardiac arrest deaths in the community. And students should want to have the capability to save their friends and family. In high school, a student senior service project campaigned for CPR, AED, and first aid training to be incorporated into the health curriculum. The administration agreed to incorporate it after it received a great deal of support from our community. Over the years, many graduates from my high school have thanked our health teachers and shared their stories about how they used their CPR training they learned in health class to save a life. Our health teachers used these stories to emphasize the possibility of it occurring and to teach us about possible situations we could encounter. While the PRW curriculum could be altered with a variety of other courses, CPR training would be comprehensive with PRW and help meet its overall goal of a rounded education that would enhance the social, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being of students. Instead of enrolling in a class like walking, SMU students can enroll in CPR, AED, and first aid certification course and learn life-saving skills that can be used in and outside the SMU community. Individually, our role should be to encourage CPR, AED, and first aid certification at SMU, and there are a variety of ways to do that. Step 1. Raise awareness of the need for CPR certification by sharing what you learned here today and warn your friends and family that they could encounter an experience where CPR is needed, as it happens more often than one thinks. Step 2. Sign a petition and draw the administration's attention to the want and need for CPR certification in the PRW curriculum. Step 3. Encourage enrollment in CPR certification classes when they become available in the PRW curriculum. These 3 simple steps could save a life. While the possibility of using CPR may seem far-fetched or a surreal experience, I can tell you, it is certainly closer to you than you think. If I did not have my CPR certification, the guy who drowned would not have been able to spend holidays with his family or continue his football career in Oklahoma. Please encourage SMU to give its students applicable life-saving tools in its PRW curriculum.